Hello children. Today in English for Standard 4, we are going to continue with our lesson, The King of the Golden River Part 2. In the previous part, we saw that how the southwest wind had ruined the treasure valley. Now, we will see what happens next in this part. Southwest Wind was true to his word. He did not return to Treasure Valley after that night. Neither did any other wind. So there was no rain. Nothing grew in Treasure Valley anymore. The brothers made no more profits. So in this paragraph, we understand that the southwest wind, which was being told by the magical dwarf, was true. It had ruined and destroyed everything at Treasure Valley. And after that, there were no other winds and there was no rain and nothing grew in Treasure Valley anymore. So the brothers were finding it very difficult to do farming. And because of that, there were no more profits. Now let's read the next paragraph. The wicked brothers then began to make money by selling gold. They melted in a furnace the gold articles they had. They mixed a lot of copper in it and sold the mix as pure gold. Again they made poor Gulk work in a furnace while they spent the money on themselves. In this paragraph, we understand that the wicked brothers started making money by selling whatever gold was there in the house. They melted it in a furnace, the gold articles, and they mixed a lot of copper in it and they sold it as saying that it is pure gold. And again they made their youngest brother work to earn more money, and they used all that money on themselves. Now let us read the next paragraph. Soon all the gold in the house was spent. Only one thing was left, a beautiful golden mug that belonged to Gulk. Gulk's uncle had given it to him when he was a baby. Gulk used to drink both milk and water from it. A strange beard face was delicately carved on the mug. Gulk was very fond of the mug. He did not want to part with it, but his wicked brothers only laughed at him and threw the mug in the furnace. They asked Gulk to pour the gold when the mug was melted and went out on some wicked enterprise. So in this paragraph, we understand that all the gold which was there in the house was spent. And only one thing was left, that was the beautiful golden mug which belonged to Gulk, and his uncle had gifted him when he was a baby. And Gulk used to drink both milk and water in it. It was his favorite mug and he was very fond of that mug. On that mug there was a strange beard face which was delicately carved. Gulk did not want to give this mug to his wicked brothers. But his wicked brothers did not listen, they just laughed. They snatched it from his hand and threw the mug in the furnace and told Gulk that pour the gold when the mug was melted, and they went out for some wicked enterprise. Enterprise means for some activity or business. Let's read the next paragraph. Sadly, Gulk sat down to watch over the mug being melted. But strangely, after some time, he he began to hear a voice singing from the furnace. He lifted the lid of the crucible, and what did he see? The face of his old beard friend on top of the melted gold. In this paragraph, we understand that Gulk was helpless. He couldn't do anything, and he couldn't tell his wicked brothers that please don't melt this mug because it's my favorite. And his brothers never listened to him, and they threw the mug in the furnace. And when they went out, they told Gulk, when it melts, that time you pour the gold. That time Gulk heard a very strange voice which was coming from the crucible. Crucible means a container in which something is heated to a high temperature. And when he lifted that lid, he saw the same old beard friend on top of the melted gold. Now let's read the next paragraph. "Come, Gulk, my boy," said the voice from the crucible. "Pour me out, I'm too hot." Gulk was too astonished, but he took hold of the crucible and tilted it to pour the gold. Instead of gold, a golden dwarf came out of the pot. His was the face carved on Gulk's mug. "Pray, sir," said Gulk, rather hesitatingly, "were you my mug?" Here in this paragraph we understand now there is a talk which is going on between the dwarf and Gulk. And Gulk was very astonished. Astonished means he was shocked. And he was talking to the dwarf and he was asking him, "Were you my mug?" And the dwarf told him that it's too hot over here, please pour me out. Astonished means he was very much shocked and surprised. Pray means over here he's saying, "Please sir, tell me that were you my mug?" Let's read the next paragraph. Dwarf means an imaginary creature that looks like a small man. "I am the king of what you call the Golden River," the golden dwarf told him. He added that another stronger king had turned him into a mug by magic. Gulk had freed him from that enchantment. In this paragraph, we understand that the dwarf, the imaginary creature, the small man who came out from the furnace, spoke to Gulk and told him that he was a king. He was a king of the Golden River, and another stronger king had turned him into a mug by magic, and Gulk had freed him from that enchantment. Enchantment means the effect of magic. Now let's read the next paragraph. The Golden Dwarf went on to say that he had seen how kind Gulk was and how wicked and cruel his brothers were. Then he told Gulk a secret. If anyone poured 3 drops of holy water into the river where it started on the mountain top, the river would turn to gold for that person. A person could try this only once, and if anyone put unholy water in the river, he would be turned to a black stone. So saying, the dwarf jumped back into the furnace and disappeared. So in this paragraph, we understand that the golden dwarf spoke to Gulk, and he was knowing that how kind Gulk was and how cruel and wicked his brothers were. So he told Gulk a secret, that if anyone pours 3 drops of holy water into the river from where it starts on the mountain top, the river would turn into gold for that person. But the person can try only once. And if anybody pours unholy water into the river, that person would turn into a black stone. Saying this, the dwarf jumped back into the furnace and disappeared. Let's read the next paragraph. When Gulk told this to his brothers, they did not believe him at first and bait him. But Gulk stuck to his story. So at last they believed him and began to fight over who should have the first chance to go to the Golden River. They fought so much that the police came to see what had happened. Hans ran away when the police came, but Schwartz was caught and put in prison. So in this paragraph we understand that Gulk was very innocent. He couldn't understand what to do, so he told the secret to his brothers. And at first his brothers did not believe what Gulk was telling him. They thought that he is telling a lie, and they bait him for that. But Gulk did not change his story, and he stuck to the same story. So they believed on him, and then they began to fight and quarrel among themselves as to who will go first to the Golden River and try this out, this secret which Gulk has told him. And they fought so much that police had to come over there, and Hans, who was very smart enough, escaped from the police, and Schwartz was caught and put in the prison. Let's read the next paragraph. Hans was happy that Schwartz was in prison. The very next morning, he went to the church, stole some holy water, and set off for the mountain. So in this paragraph, we come to know that Hans had escaped from the police. So now he had a chance to go first and try out the secret of the Golden River, because Schwartz was in the prison. So the very next morning he went to the church and he stole holy water and he set off for the mountain. Now let us understand what happens next in the next paragraph. It was not easy to climb the mountain. He was tired and thirsty. Soon Hans thought he would drink some of the holy water himself. Just as Hans raised the flask of water to his lips, he saw a little puppy on a rock. It looked as if it was dying of thirst. Hans only pushed the animal away with his foot, drank some water himself, and passed on. So here in this paragraph we understand that the climb was not easy for Hans, and he was feeling, after climbing for a long time, he was tired and he was feeling thirsty, and so he decided to drink some of the holy water which he had taken along with him. And the moment he raised the flask of water to his lips, he saw a little puppy who was there on a rock, and it was looking as if it was dying of thirst. But Hans only kicked that puppy with his foot and he drank some water himself and passed on. Let's read the next paragraph. The climb now became more difficult. Hans felt thirsty again. He was going to drink some more of the water. Then he saw a little child on a rock ahead of him. The child was lying lifeless. It's parched and burning. Ignoring the child, Hans drank some more water himself and passed on. So in this paragraph we understand now, since Hans had not helped the little puppy. The climb had become more difficult for him, and again he felt thirsty. So again he went to drink some more water, and that time he saw a little child on a rock ahead of him. And the child was also as if it was dying of thirst. It was lying lifeless, parched and burning in the hot heat over there. Parched means very dry. Its lips had dried. And ignoring the child again, Hans drank water and passed on. But this time also he never helped the little child. The next paragraph. The climb had now become very, very difficult. Somehow Hans reached the top of the mountain from where the golden river sprang. A faint cry fell on his ears. Then he saw a weak old man stretched on a rock. "Water," the man said. "Water, I am dying." So in this paragraph we understand, since Hans had not helped the little puppy, the little child, the climb for him had become very, very difficult. But he managed to reach the top of the mountain from where the golden river sprang. And when he reached over there, he could hear a faint cry on his ears. He felt as if someone is calling him. So he just noticed a weak old man who was stretched on a rock, and he was also dying of water and asking for help, and was thirsty and was asking for water. "I have no water for you," replied Hans. He jumped over the old man's body and ran to the river. The sun was about to set. The river shone golden in the light of the setting sun. Hans threw the flask of holy water into the river. But alas, the river did not turn to gold. Instead, there was only a black stone where Hans stood. So in this paragraph, we understand that again Hans did not help the weak old man. Instead of helping him, he said to him that "I don't have water to give you." And he jumped over that old man's body and ran to the river. The sun was about to set, so the river was shining like gold in the light of the setting sun. So Hans threw the flask of holy water into the river, but the river did not turn into gold. But since he was not helpful, and he was very wicked and cruel, not kind to any of the people who asked him for help, asked him for water, he was turned into a black stone. Let's read the next paragraph. When Schwartz returned from prison, he took some of Gulk's money and bought some holy water from a bad priest and set out for the Golden River. While climbing the mountain, Schwartz too saw the fair child dying of thirst and passed on without giving him water. As he had climbed a little higher, he saw his own brother Hans stretched on a rock asking for water. But the wicked Schwartz only laughed aloud and went on without giving him any water. Alas, when he cast the flask into the stream, he too was turned to stone. So in this paragraph, we understand that Schwartz had left from the prison and he had come back. So he stole little bit of Gulk's money and bought holy water from a bad priest, and he set out for the Golden River. While he was climbing, he too met the child, the little child who was dying of thirst, but he did not help, just passed on without giving water. So his climb had also become very difficult, and he was also finding it very difficult to climb. When he was climbing, after some time, he saw his own brother Hans, who was stretched on a rock and asking for water. But as we know that these brothers were very wicked, and Schwartz was also a wicked and cruel person, he only laughed aloud and did not give him water. And alas, when he also cast the flask into the stream, he too was turned into stone. Let's read the next paragraph. Gulk waited and waited for his brothers, but they did not return. At last he decided to visit the Golden River himself. He went to a good priest who willingly gave him some holy water. Gulk was young and small, and he too found the climb very difficult. So here in this paragraph we understand that Gulk was waiting for his two brothers to return back, but none of them came back. So Gulk decided to go to the Golden River himself. He went to a good priest and he took some holy water, and the priest knew that what kind of a person Gulk was. He was very kind and helpful. So he gave him some holy water willingly. And since we know that Gulk was the youngest brother, he was very small, and he also found the climb very difficult. After he had climbed for an hour or so, he became very thirsty. He was about to drink some water when, like his brothers, he saw an old man. The old man walked towards Gulk, leaning on a staff, and asked for some water. Gulk saw that the old man was pale, tired, and thirsty, so he gave him the bottle of water. The old man drank up nearly 2/3 of the water. Then he returned the bottle and wished Gulk well. So in these paragraphs we understand that Gulk had started his climb, and after an hour he was also feeling thirsty. So he decided to drink some water. Like his brothers, he also saw an old man, and the old man walked towards Gulk leaning on a staff. Staff means a long thick stick was there in the old man's hand, and he asked him for some water. And Gulk saw the old man. He felt very pity. His face was pale, tired, and thirsty. So he wanted to help the old man. So he gave the water of the holy water to the old man, and he told him to drink some water. The old man drank 2/3 of the water and then returned the bottle and wished Gulk well. The next paragraph. Gulk did not have any water himself, but as he went on, his path became easier. After climbing for a long time, when he became thirsty, he saw the small child. Gulk was sorry for him and gave him some water. The child began to smile, got up, and ran down the hill. So in this paragraph we understand that since Gulk was a very kind and helpful person, he had helped the old man. And he did not have any water himself. But when he started climbing, his path had become very easy. He could easily climb the mountain. And after some time, again he felt thirsty. When he was about to drink water, he saw a small child. And the child was also thirsty and asking for help. And Gulk felt very sorry for the child, so he gave again the water for the child to drink. And as moment the child drank the water, it began to smile, got up, and ran down the hill. So in this way we can see that how Gulk was constantly helping the people who were in need. Let's read the next paragraph. Now only a few drops of water were left in the bottle. When Gulk came close to the mountain top, He was very thirsty himself. Just then he saw the poor little pup that was dying of thirst. I must help it now, thought Gulk. Otherwise, it may be too late. So he poured the remaining drops into the little dog's mouth. In this paragraph, we understand that now the climb had become more easier for Gulk because he had helped the old man and the little child. And now only few drops of water were left in his bottle. When he started climbing the mountain, he had reached the mountain top and he felt thirsty again. At that time, he saw a poor little pup who was dying of thirst and he wanted to help that little puppy. So he thought that it is better I help before it is too late. And he poured the remaining drops of water into the little pup's mouth. Now let us see what happened next. The dog sprang up and in his place stood the king of the Golden River. He was very pleased with Gulk. The king put in Gulk's bottle some dewdrops from the petals of a lily. Then he told Gulk to cast it into the leaping river. So in this paragraph we understand, since Gulk was a very kind and helpful person, the moment he poured the remaining few drops of water into the little dog's mouth, the dog sprang up and in his place stood the king of the Golden River. And the king was very much pleased with Gulk. So he saw that Gulk's bottle had become empty. So there was a lily plant. He took the petals of the lily plant. It had few dewdrops. He poured it into Gulk's bottle and he told him to cast it into the leaping river. The next paragraph. Gulk did so, but the river did not turn to gold. However, it changed its course and began to flow through the treasure valley, making it rich and fertile once again. Gulk lived in the valley, helping the poor and the needy. His barns were always full of corn, and he never lacked for money. So in this paragraph we understand that Gulk took the dewdrops of the petals of the lily which were given to him by the king of the Golden River, and he went and he poured that into the river. But the river did not turn to gold. Instead of that, it had changed its flow through the treasure valley, making it more rich and fertile once again, how it was before. And Gulk lived in the valley happily, helping the poor and the needy. And his barns which were there, because he was doing farming, so his barns were always full of corn and he never lacked for money. In this way you can see, when you help the needy and the poor people, you have been blessed with more and more. I hope so you've understood the lesson and enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe my channel and stay tuned for more videos. Bye-bye.